What's up, everybody? So this is the 7th episode of my series where I talk about the road trip I went on years ago where I went out west and saw 70 college basketball games. So if you haven't seen the first 6 episodes, I'd highly recommend that you check those out before checking this episode out. But I left you guys off when I finished attending Utah Valley, which is in Orem, Utah. Yeah, that's right. So my next game is gonna, and at this point, I'm headed towards Alabama to do something. I gotta do something in Alabama, so I'm having to. I've had to make a change to my original schedule where I could do that trip while at the same time still attend games, and so I was able to come up with this swing where I'd attend a few games before I needed to be back in Alabama to do what I needed to do. So this episode will encompass the last 3 episodes, not episodes, but the last 3 games that I covered before I got back to Alabama. So I'm leaving Utah Valley, and my first stop the next day is going to be Colorado, and they're playing Stanford in this game, but getting a little ahead of myself there. This is Colorado Buffalo's athletics program that's before Deion Sanders. So this is I don't think at this point Colorado's really known for anything here. Like I guess back in 1990, I'm trying to remember exactly. I think, yeah, they split a national championship with Georgia Tech, but they hadn't done anything in my lifetime at this point. So anyway, I go to the CU Event Center, Colorado University Event Center. And I don't remember there being much to that one. I do remember I was wearing like a red long sleeve shirt because that's the color of Stanford. And so I think someone kind of gave me a little something just because they thought I had something to do with Stanford. And I just went in my trunk that morning when I went to Planet Fitness, grabbed the first shirt I saw. It happened to be a red shirt. So I didn't mean anything by it, but it was kind of funny how, that's probably like one of the few times, like I guess my mask had slipped down a little bit, and that was like one of the few times someone came up to me and told me to put my mask on, my COVID mask, because that was very much a thing at every game out west I'm going to, basically. So I don't want to get kicked out, so I oblige. And I mean, it's a Pac-12 game. It's December, but it's a Pac-12 game. So it's a conference game. It's a decent game. I don't remember who won that game, to be honest. I think it was Colorado, but I'm not really sure. I mean, that's a game I've totally forgotten. Other than being told to put my mask on. I didn't have it off either. I think it slipped down just below my nose. And one thing that kind of annoys me thinking about that, like so many people that were wearing masks, they wore it below your nose, which made wearing the mask pointless. Like the whole point of, like, if you were going to wear the mask, you gotta wear it. You gotta wear it above it. And I kind of like developed a saying, like, if you're just putting on a mask, you're just making a political statement there. Like if you're wearing it like below your nose and you're trying to tell others they got to wear it, then you're not helping at all. You're just making a political statement there. And like to be clear, like at the time, and I'm getting preachy here. Yeah, at the time I kind of still supported the mask wearing, like as a personal thing, you know. I didn't Yeah, I think the governments went way overboard with it. Especially at that point, we were over. COVID was over a year old at that point. So personally, I think there was a bit of there was a lot of overreach, and like I said, at that my main thing was like, you're not getting on to, well, if you're gonna be getting on to people wearing masks, like not wearing masks, then you got to get on to people that are not wearing masks the right way. Because like I said, if you're just wearing a mask that's just covering your mouth and that's it, and your nose is completely uncovered, then you're just making a political statement there. You're not, that's not helping at all, you know. And truth is, the masks weren't helping either, but that's another discussion for another day. And later on in the series, I'll tell you what I thought about the vaccines here. It's probably a bad idea, but I'm gonna do it anyway. But that there'll be a good point when I get to California where I explain that. But anyway, I'm at the Colorado game. Don't remember what happened in the game, to be honest with you. Told to put on to slip my mask back on, and that was that. So whatever happened at Colorado, I leave Colorado, and then so I planned to attend Colorado at some point. The next two games on the trip, because I had not deemed them as the West, because they were going to be in the Central Time Zone. I had not planned to see the next two games, but I had to make a change in the schedule to see these games. So the next game I'm going to be attending is Oral Roberts in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So I'm going from Colorado to Oklahoma, and so like I said, gas, like out in the West, gas is higher than in the South. But so apparently the South has cheap gas, but I found one place that has cheaper gas than the West, and that is Oklahoma. Yeah, I'm seeing like gas that's, I think it was like $2.19, like in Oklahoma. And I'm just, yeah, I'm basically I'm praising Jesus in the car, you know. Like, to go from like $4 a gallon to $2 a gallon, I'm like, hallelujah. Give me this cheap gas here. I'll drink some of this gas. I'm kidding. Don't drink gas. Unless, well, yeah, don't drink gas. But man, I probably should have had like some gas cans though in the back. Just filled them up and saved them for my California trip. But Corolla only has so much space, so that's a pity. You're gonna pay one way or another. You can pay for gas, you can pay for space. Anyway, so I'm getting to Tulsa, Oklahoma here, and there's another program called the Tulsa Golden Hurricane. I won't see them, but I am gonna. Well, that's the thing. Oral Roberts is playing Tulsa in the game I'm gonna be seeing. Yeah, it's the Mayor's Cup, which I didn't plan on that. I wasn't even looking at the opponent when I'm making the schedule. It just so happened that it's Tulsa and Oral Roberts, so that added intrigue to the game I'm seeing. And so this is the Mabee Center that I'm attending, and apparently it was like it's hosted a lot of concerts over the years. I saw the concerts on the walls when I entered the Mabee Center. It wasn't Mabee Arena. I'm not really sure. I'm gonna say Mabee Center. So and I go in to my seat, and I'm seated. I'm sitting in the Tulsa section, and Tulsa's got quite a few fans. It's like I said, it's a local game here, so that's kind of interesting. And I will say, I'll go ahead and tell this tidbit. So I think a couple rows in front of me, I was sitting behind some special. It appeared that some of those people in front of me were special needs, and they were wearing Tulsa stuff, but even like when the Oral Roberts cheerleaders were throwing stuff at yeah, they were. It wasn't a t-shirt toss. I think there was like small basketballs that they were throwing to the crowd, and they still threw them to those Tulsa fans. So that was really nice. And okay, so I forgot. Okay, so that was an interesting tidbit. And another thing that was interesting was before the Oral Roberts game, there was a prayer before the game, and I did see that at BYU as well. So BYU and now Oral Roberts had pregame prayers. Yeah, I think they're both private schools, so they can do that. And I think that's interesting. I know, like some schools will have invocations, which I guess are technically not. Which I guess you could technically get around the Christian prayer thing if it's an invocation, you know. But yeah, so BYU and Oral Roberts have had prayers at this point. There'll be a few others, and I'll try to keep track of that as well. But I think that's interesting. So yeah, the Oral Roberts and Tulsa game happens, and yeah, it's a really good game. Oh, one other thing I forgot to mention was the year prior, I think Oral Roberts made the Sweet 16. So Oral Roberts is a good program here, and I don't think I kind of realized that until like right before I started. Like I guess I didn't pay close attention to the prior March Madness other than Alabama's run, but yeah, Oral Roberts had made the Sweet 16 the prior year, so they were a good program. And I will see this Oral Roberts team again in a future game here, but that'll be in a different episode. So I remember the game was good, and I remember that Oral Roberts won because I see my first court storming at the end. Yeah, a bunch of the students stormed the court, and there was a trophy for the rivalry game. I think it was the Mayor's Cup that they were lifting, so that was really cool. And one other thing that happened, because it's like the first Christmas thing I see. Yeah, the cheerleaders were wearing Christmas stuff, and they're like they're doing like some Christmas halftime show. But also, one other thing that I don't remember seeing anywhere else was like during one of the media timeouts, they had a bunch of fans come on the court and dance with them during one of the media breaks, which that was also really interesting to me. So Oral Roberts, that was something. I liked Oral Roberts. So I'm trying to think here. Yeah, I think that's all there was to Oral Roberts. I will say, okay, so I think that was the south part of Tulsa. I'm not sure about that 100%, but whatever part of Tulsa I was in, it was kind of sketchy. So I'll leave it at that. Because we'll go ahead and go to my next episode. Now, let me backtrack a little bit. Just want to see what day of the week this was. I think I'm in Alabama. I scratched that. Okay, so Thursday I'm at 10 a.m. game. Wednesday I'll do something. So Tuesday and Monday. Okay, that adds up. So Colorado was Sunday. Oral Roberts was Monday. So then the next day I'm gonna head to Ole Miss in Oxford, Mississippi. So I'm driving through the rest of Oklahoma. Well, actually, this might have happened the day before. So around this time, my windshield gets a crack in it, and it's like it keeps expanding, so I can't just ignore it. So I have to schedule a service in. I have to schedule like a Safe Light service in Little Rock, Arkansas, the next day. So, because Little Rock's about halfway between Oklahoma and northern Mississippi. So I could just say Memphis for the purpose of that. But yeah, so I stopped. So I'm at this Safe Life place for a few hours, waiting on my windshield to get fixed. Apparently, even if you got insurance, it's still $500 to fix a windshield. So had to pay it. And I knew at some point stuff like that was going to happen, so I had the funds to cover it, but it's not fun handing over $500 for like a relatively small crack, but was expanding. So guess I had to do something about it. So I probably get done with that around a little bit before. Probably would have been about 10:30 to 11 when I get out of Little Rock. And so I get to Memphis, and I kind of figure, well, it's afternoon in Memphis. It's probably not going to be worth me DoorDashing here in Memphis. So instead, I just go to a rest stop somewhere in northern Mississippi, just chill for a couple hours. And you know, it's a bit, even though it's December, it's still somewhat warm outside, and it's especially warm if you're in your car and you've turned it off because the sun's still going through. So, and I'm pretty sure it was a warm day. I'd probably remember if it was cold, and it wasn't. So, don't think it was that cold at all that day. And one thing that's interesting, if you don't have a cold day in the South, typically what that means is if each day is getting warmer, that means a tornado is coming. If it's in December, may not be. It's not gonna be exactly there, but there'll be some severe weather, and within that severe weather, there'll be a tornado somewhere in the area. So yeah, warm weather can be fun for a few days, but then it's not fun. So that's interesting about South weather. But anyway, so I'm a little bit outside Memphis, and I can't be more than an hour away from Oxford. So eventually I would have drove down to Oxford, and they have a lot of reserved parking around their new arena. It's a new arena that they're playing in, the Pavilion, and a lot of reserved parking. I don't think they need most of that reserved parking, but I think I parked close to their old arena. Yeah, their old arena was still standing, so I think I started my video by covering the old arena. I don't remember what it was called, but yeah, I think I walked around the old arena a little bit, and then also stopped by the Grove. That's where the tailgating for football games happen. And not much to it. I mean, I guess, I wasn't really a tailgater in college, and I'm not I don't know. I just felt like, because I'd heard about the Grove so many times, I felt like I should just walk through it at least once. So I did. I had no idea I was going to go to a football game there years later and actually see the Grove in action. But I thought it wasn't that interesting. Grove's not that interesting when when it's not tailgating. So anyway, I go through. Eventually, I get into the to the Coliseum, or no, the Pavilion. Get into the Pavilion. And it's another one of those modern arenas where as soon as you walk in, you can kind of see the court. They go 3 sides. There's no walls, so. And eventually I'd see a lot of arenas like that, but at this point I'd only seen a couple. So to me that was really cool. So they're playing the Rider Bronx. For some reason I remember that. And I remember it wasn't a close game. Ole Miss won very easily. Had a few highlight dunks in that game. So the students were gone at this. I think the students were gone at this point. It was mostly season ticket. Some old season ticket holders and family. It wasn't a big crowd there. And that's going to be the case for a lot of these upcoming games I'm going to be seeing. Oh, some will have some crowds. But yeah. Students were either gone or it was finals week and they're not thinking about basketball. And I think even then football was still pretty good at that point. So they probably had they might have had a Sugar Bowl that year. I don't remember. So anyway, Ole Miss had more press. People at Ole Miss had more pressing things than a basketball game that night. So I think that's all there is to Ole Miss there. And then so that would have been a Wednesday, I think. No, Tuesday. Colorado, Oral Roberts, Ole Miss. Tuesday, yeah. Okay, so the next day, so I get back home to Alabama that night. Next day, I do something I need to do. I don't want to talk about it in this vlog, but I need to stop by Alabama to take care of something real quick, and then the next day I stay in Alabama that night, and then the next day I go straight back to the tour. And I think the next day I'll talk about. I think this is a good spot to kind of stop this episode. But at this point, I've counted now. I'm at 18 games attended. 16 of them I'm now having to count in the West because I've now done a couple that were Central Time Zone. So 16 of my original 62 are done, and 18 of the 70 I did that season are done. So we're making good pace here so far, I think. Even though I've had to rearrange the schedule a little bit, and I know I'm gonna have to more because California is taking COVID really seriously, and I know there's gonna be games canceled at this point. So, but before I get to California, I still have a few more I want to do before I enter California, and so then I'll be covering some of those games in my next couple vlogs here. But overall, at this point, I'm really happy that I'm doing this. You know. So one other thing I haven't mentioned. So I mentioned at the in the first episode how people at work had helped me. And they gave me some money. They gave me some funding and whatnot to help this tour here. But the biggest person behind my corner in this series by far was my brother, who I'd been talking about that project for a long time with him. He was so invested in this. Like, I can't count. Yeah, he's paid me. Yeah, he paid me hundreds of dollars over the course of that tour to keep it going. So he really kept it afloat there. Yeah, in addition to what my coworkers did. And not only that, like later in the tour, he'd make the outro for the video, but that's later on. But he loved that series so much. And yeah, at this point, I could tell he was really invested in this, and like even to this day, like he's still invested in my channel here. So, I mean, anyway, it's just so cool to. I mean, yeah, he was. What am I trying to say here? I love you, bro. I bet you he's watching this. But man, but yeah. He started helping me out with some of the funds for this tour. And it's especially when I see the gas prices in California, because I mean I'm thinking the 3 and 350 is expensive in Washington and Oregon. Oh no. It's gonna get higher than that, buddy. So just go ahead and get prepared here. But yeah, I think I'm at a good stopping point here. Like I said, next day I'll go back out west and I'll tell you more about what happened. But until then, I'll leave you here. Till next episode, so long, everybody.